Hi everyone. Today we'll discuss the dimension analysis. This chapter is usually come in the applied hydraulics. In the module one, there is a very first chapter. There is dimension analysis. The prerequisites for this dimension analysis are the different fluid properties, what you have already studied in fluid mechanics, and different flow properties, and the units of all the fundamental physical quantities. Okay, see the dimension, the main aim or the application of the dimension analysis is to check the dimensional homogeneity of the equation or to convert the system of units from one system to the another system. Say for example, you have to convert the CGS system to the SI system, you have to perform the dimensional analysis. Okay, so in order to know this dimension analysis, you should be and very well versed with the different fundamental quantities and their units. Okay, so in general, basically we have got five fundamental units. One is meter, another one is kg, then seconds, then Kelvin, then ampere. These are the usually five fundamental units what we will use in the mechanics. Okay, so out of this five, there are three basic fundamental units or the fundamental quantities we often use in any equation. That is the meter, kg, seconds. Okay, these are three are the fundamental units we often use in the different equations. Like the meter, it's a unit of an length, and the kg is a unit of mass, seconds is the unit of time. Okay, here while writing the dimension of these three units, say any physical quantity which is having a unit meter. Okay, either it might be on length, width, depth, breadth, and pressure head. So whatever it is, if the fundamental quantity is having an unit meter, then that will comes under the category of length. We should take the first letter length, that is L. L is the dimension of an physical quantity which is having an unit meter. Similar way, the kg is the unit of mass. So any physical quantity which is having an kg as an unit, the dimension of that particular will be m, capital M. Capital M is the dimension of the physical quantity which is having an unit kg. Clear? Similarly, the seconds, it is the unit of time. So take the first letter T. So T is the dimension of time, or T is the dimension of an physical quantity which is having a unit seconds. So there are three basic fundamental units: meter, kg, seconds. Three fundamental dimension L, M, T. Okay. So now we'll go into the definition of dimension analysis. It is a mathematical technique in which the functional relationship between dependent variable and independent variable is obtained in the form of dimensionless number. Okay. See, in any equation, you'll get number of variables. Say, for example, I take the example of this. Velocity is equal to square root of 2gh. There is theoretical velocity we use in the fluid mechanics. V stands for velocity, G stands for acceleration due to gravity, H stands for pressure head. Okay, here this velocity is directly dependent on the G and H. That is, if you change the value of H, the value of V will be changes, correct? So here in this equation, V is called as dependent variable, whereas G and H are independent variable. Independent variable means this is the variable which never changes with respect to the other variable which is having an individual value. But here the velocity is dependent on G and H, whereas the G and H are independent variable. I think you'll come into picture. Out of the three variable in this equation, V is dependent, G and H are independent. Similarly, you can take the second example. Q is equal to area into velocity, that is discharge is equal to area velocity. Here the discharge is dependent on area and velocity, where area and velocity are called as independent variables. Okay, I hope you understand what is dependent and independent variable. So you have to get the relationship between this dependent as well as independent variable in the mathematical form, or the final form will be the dimensionless number. This technique is called as dimensional analysis. Okay. Majorly we use this dimensional analysis in the research field. where if anybody wants to derive an equation, so at the end, you have to validate that equation. So one of the validation technique is the dimension analysis. You have to do the dimension analysis, and you have to make sure that the left-hand side of the equation, the dimensions of the left-hand side and the right-hand side should be same, or you should finally get a dimensionless number. Then you can use in the field, or if you want to derive an expression, say for example, automobiles, or in the design of the aircrafts or design of the moving objects, even in the fluid mechanics, you'll come across number of relationship or number of the equation, where when you want to derive a relationship between any variable with respect to other, you have to conduct a dimensional analysis. Okay, then you have to get a functional relationship between dependent as well as independent variable. So these are the different application of this dimensional analysis. Okay, so next is dimensional homogeneity. As I said earlier, you have to validate any derived equation, means it should be a dimensionally homogeneous. So an equation is said to be dimensional homogeneous if the dimensions on the left hand side of the equation are equal to the dimensions on the right hand side of the equation. Okay, say here the velocity is equal to root of 2gh. In the left hand side, you take the velocity is nothing but the unit is meter per second. Meter means, as I told, the dimension of the meter will be L. This is L. The S is stands for the unit of the time. Okay, it is in the denominator time t. So if you take the numerator, it becomes t power minus 1. Therefore, it is L t power minus 1 is the dimension of velocity. The right hand side, it is square root of 2gh. Root 2, it is an constant. G, acceleration due to gravity. Meter per second square is the unit. H is the pressure head. This is the minute. Unit is meter. So now you take root 2 outside. As I said, it is constant. Therefore, root of m square by s square. Therefore, it is root of m stands for meter. The dimension of meter is L, L square. The dimension of second is t, t square. That is root of L square by t square, which is equal to root t, where the root with square cancel. It is L by t, L t power minus 1. So the dimension of the right hand side is also L t power minus 1. Here neglect root 2 because root 2 is a constant, which is dimensionless number. Therefore, LHS is L t power minus 1. RHS is also L t power minus 1. Therefore, this equation is called as dimensionally homogeneous. You can take any equation you used in your might be in the third semester or in the first year or even in the PUC. You have this number of equation. You take any equation and check for this dimensional homogeneous. Now the discharge is equal to area multiplied by velocity. The unit of discharge is meter cube per second. That is, dimension of meter is L cube by t, L cube t power minus 1. Like that, RHS also you should write. And you can say the dimension of left hand side and the right hand side are same. This equation is dimensionally homogeneous. You can say any example as I told. Moving on to this, I have made a little table here. So one is physical quantity, unit, and the dimension. So if you writing the dimension of all the physical quantities or whatever yearly I have listed near 26 physical quantity, if you have writing the dimension of this all the physical quantity, means the dimensional analysis, the part of the dimensional analysis is over. Okay, think like that, because writing the dimension is the very first and the foremost step in the any of the problem of dimension analysis. So you know the dimension, then you can solve that problem easily. And in order to know the dimension, you should be knowing the units of the quantity. Say for example, length, meter, L, area, meter square, L square. L stands for length, because length we have taken as a fundamental quantity, correct? Length, mass, and the time are the three fundamental quantities we often use in our fluid mechanics. Okay, the volume, like mass. See here, I'll tell you the force. We all know that the unit of force is Newton. Okay, but there is no particular dimension for Newton. You can't write directly. So in order to write the dimension of Newton, you should go with respect to the formula of the force. From the Newton's second law of motion, we know that force F is equal to mass multiplied by acceleration, correct? So this mass and acceleration, okay, the mass, the unit of mass is kg, you can write directly as m, but acceleration unit is meter per second square. Meter per second square means L t power minus 2. Therefore, the dimension of force is m L t power minus 2. Okay, so the unit Newton is called as the derived unit. We call it as a derived quantity. Means The force is not having, you can't write the dimensions directly. You have to go with the basic formula of the force, mass multiplied by acceleration. You write the dimension for mass, you write the dimension of acceleration, that will be the dimension of your force. So these quantities are called as derived quantities. These are not fundamental quantities, correct? These are derived quantities, means the quantities which is derived from your fundamental quantities only. So this will be having the fundamental units. So you can observe the fundamental units are here, kg is there, then meter per second square is there. These are the fundamental units. By using this, you can write the dimension. Okay, don't behead this dimension of the force. You remember the force is equal to mass into acceleration, because you know what is the unit of mass, you know what is the unit of acceleration, thereby you can write the dimensions. Clear? Similarly, work done which is having a unit Newton meter, torque having a unit Newton meter, moment, that is force multiplied by perpendicular distance, will be having a unit Newton meter. Okay, the dimension of Newton is m l t power minus 2. The dimension of the meter is L, therefore it becomes m L square t power minus 2. You separate this and write, after that you do multiplication, you arrive at this equation. Okay, try to practice this. The speed, rotational speed n, it is usually given in revolutions per minute. So revolutions means it is a dimensionless number. Per minute is there, therefore it is 1 by t, sorry, per minute is nothing but the seconds, therefore minutes you can convert into seconds, that is the unit of time. So therefore it is 1 by t, therefore t power minus 1. Similarly, power, mass density, weight density, specific gravity, which is having no unit. So if any quantity which is having an unitless or the no unit, the dimension will be written as m to the power of 0, L to the power of 0, t to the power of 0. The power remains 0 means it is 1. Similarly, efficiency, have written efficiency unitless m0 l0 t0. Okay, you can go through this once. Okay, there are different quantities and their units, their dimensions. Okay, just practice this. Don't behead any of the dimensions directly. Just remember the three fundamental quantities: length, then the mass, as well as time. If you know all these three, it is more than sufficient. Wherever you come across meter, just put L. Wherever you come across kg, just put m. Wherever you come across seconds, you just put t. That is very simple, I guess. Okay. So next we'll move on to very important part, that is methods of dimensional analysis. Okay. In the methods of dimensional analysis, there are two important methods. One is Rayleigh method. Another one is Buckingham's pi theorem. Okay. The first one is Rayleigh method. The second one is Buckingham's pi theorem. Okay. First we'll see the Rayleigh method. Okay. So in order to perform the dimensional analysis, there are two important methods. It is the first method, that is the Rayleigh method. Rayleigh is the name of a scientist. Okay, he has given some procedure. Okay, what is a procedure says? Say there are number of variable in a particular system. Okay, number of variables are there. In that variable, first you have to decide which is a dependent variable, which is an independent variable. So I told what is dependent variable, what are independent variable. We're taking two examples. In all the equations, we'll be having the left hand side. Usually the left hand side is the dependent variable. The right hand side is what? Independent variables. So here, say let x be the dependent variable, then x1, x2, x3 be the independent variable. You can get any number of variables, might be an 4 number of 6, 7. Out of this variables, you have to decide which is dependent, another one is independent. Dependent is x, x1, x2, x3, and etc. We have taken 3 independent. Okay. Then you have to relate the dependent as well as independent variable in the form of the equation, that is dependent variable is equal to the function of the dependent variable is equal to function of x1 to the power of a, x2 to the power of b, x3 to the power of c. Okay. So here the dependent variable is equal to the function of x1, x2, x3 are independent variable. Here you can observe I have raised the power of the independent variables to a, b, and c. Here a, b, and c are unknown values. Okay. So here the one is dependent variable, that is in the left hand side. In the right hand side, you have to write the independent variables only, and you raise the power of the independent variable, say a, b and c. If there are 4 independent variable, it becomes a, b, c, d, like that. You call that as equation 1. This is the functional relationship we have obtained. Now you write the dimensions of all the variables, even the dependent variable in the left hand side, write the dimension of this. And similarly, for the independent variables also, you have to write the dimensions. After writing the dimension on both the side, you have to equate the powers of the m, l and t. On both the side, you'll get 3 more equations. Clear? So you compare the powers of L, M and T, because in the dimension, any physical quantity or the fundamental quantity will be having an different dimensions. The power of the dimensions will be equated on both the side. You will get 3 equations. Solve those 3 equations, you will get the value of A, B and C. Later on, you substitute the value of A, B and C in this equation. Okay, you rearrange the terms, you will get the final expression for dependent variable. Okay, it is very as simple as that. Okay, I hope you are getting my point. Okay. First, you have to write down the variables. In that, you have to decide which is dependent variable and which is independent variable. Then you have to write the functional relationship between dependent as well as independent variable in the form x equals function of x1 to the power of a, x2, x3. You raise the powers of the independent variable x1, x2, x3, abc. Then you write the dimensions of all the variables in both left hand side as well as right hand side. You equate the powers of L, M and T in both the sides separately. You'll get 3 more equations. Solve those 3 more equations, you'll get the unknown values A, B and C. You substitute in this equation and rearrange the terms, you'll get the final expression. This is your Rayleigh method. Okay. The second method is Buckingham Pi theorem. See, here the statement will go like this: if there are m variables in a physical phenomenon, n fundamental units, then m minus n dimensionless terms are obtained, which are known as pi terms. So here, why this Buckingham's pi theorem will be using is, see, when there are only 3 independent variable, you get the power a, b, c, you'll get 3 equation, you can find a, b, c easily. Say when you are having 4 independent variable, you get the power as a, b, c and d. But when you equate the powers of L, M and T, you'll get 3 equations. But here in this, there are 4 unknowns, a, b, c and d. Then this Rayleigh method becomes laborious, or becomes a tedious procedure. In order to avoid that tedious procedure, you can go for Buckingham Pi theorem. What Buckingham Pi theorem says is, say for example, there are m number of variables, okay, in any physical phenomenon. Now you count the fundamental units. Fundamental units are usually 3. Okay. So in the m variables, if there are n fundamental units, then you subtract the variables with the fundamental units, m minus of n. You'll get one number. That number is called as the pi terms. If you get 3, there are 3 pi terms will be there. If you get 2, m minus n, if you got value 2, there are 2 pi terms. If you get m minus n as 4, you'll get the 4 pi terms. Okay, so as the number of variable increases, the Rayleigh method becomes laborious or tedious procedure. In order to avoid that, you can use the Buckingham's pi theorem. Okay, so let me explain the procedure of this. Same, x is taken as dependent variable, x1, x2, x3, x4, x5 is taken as what? Independent variable. Okay, then you write all the variables one below the other like this: x, x1, x2, both independent as well as dependent. You write one below the other. Now you count the number of variables. There are 6 number of variables. N is number of fundamental units. Therefore, number of pi terms required is equal to m minus of n. 6 minus of 3, you will get the 3 pi terms. You will get the 3 pi terms. Now you can observe here, I have written some repeating variables. So among these 6 variables, whatever it is present in the particular problem, you have to select 3 repeating variables. So how to select the repeating variables? So which variable I should take as a repeating variable? Yes, there are different conditions. In order to see the condition, you observe here. What are repeating variables? How do you select repeating variables in the dimensional analysis using Buckingham's pi theorem? Now you observe, repeating variables are the variables which are found in all the pi terms. Means repeating variables, which are the variables which is found in all the pi terms. So if there are 3 pi terms, in all the 3 pi terms, just repeating variables will be there. Therefore, it is called as repeating variables because it is repeating on all the pi terms. Okay. So how do you choose the repeating variables here. The repeating variables is chosen in such a way that the repeating variable should not be a dependent variable. So in any equation, you will be having dependent variable, right? That dependent variable should not be selected as repeating variable. Okay. The repeating variable, the second point, the repeating variable should be chosen in such a way that one variable should be of geometric property. The second variable should be of fluid property. Third variable should be of flow property. Okay, the repeating variables you have to select in such a way. So how to select the repeating variable? There are three repeating variables you can select. The one variable should be of geometric property of a particular thing. The second variable should be of fluid property. Third variable should be of flow property. Sir, what is geometric properties? Geometric properties means linear dimensions like length, width, breadth, or the head edge. In other words, you just remember geometric property variable means any variable which is having an unit meter. Say in the problem they have given length. Length is having a unit meter means you can select length as an repeating variable. The first repeating variable is over. You might ask one more question like this means, sir, in any problem, if there are two fundamental quantities which is having an unit meter, say for example, yes, length is also there, width is also there, then which one I have to select an repeating variable? So either you can select length or width, any one. Even though there are variables which is having an unit meter, say for example, two variables will be having unit meter, you can select any one in that. Either you can select length or you can select width. It is up to you. That is the first repeating variable. The second repeating variable should be of fluid properties. What are different fluid properties? Different fluid properties, the basic properties you already studied in the fluid mechanics, like density, viscosity, surface tension. Okay, so these are the some fluid properties. Among these different fluid properties, you can select any one as the repeating variable. The second repeating variable should be a fluid property. Either you can select density or the viscosity. Okay, or you can select the surface tension. If all the three variables are given, you select any one. Usually we select density as the second repeating variable. The third repeating variable should be flow property. Flow property means the velocity, acceleration, angular acceleration, acceleration due to gravity. These are all the flow property or the speed. Okay, so you have to select third repeating variable should be a flow property. In usual terms, we often select velocity or acceleration as my third repeating variable. So how many repeating variables you have to choose? Majority of the times it is three. One should be of geometric property. Usually we take it as an length or any quantity which is having unit meter. The second will be fluid property like density, viscosity, surface tension. The third repeating variable should be velocity, acceleration or acceleration or any one. So you have to select three repeating variables. So very, very important. Okay. Then the repeating variable selected should not be a dimensionless quantity. Means you cannot select any repeating variable which is having a constant like the specific gravity. You can't select specific gravity as your repeating variable. Okay. Next, no two repeating variables should be having the same dimension. As I told earlier, if the length as well as the width is given, you should select only one as the repeating variable. You can't select both length and width as the repeating variable because both will be having an same unit. The number of repeating variable will be equal to number of fundamental units. Means in say for any problem, there is only meters and the seconds is there. There is no mass involved in that, or there is no kg at all. Only meter and the seconds are there means number of fundamental units are only two. Therefore, you have to select two repeating variables. In any problem, if there are three fundamental units are involved, like the mass, like the meter, kg, and the time. Okay, so meter, kg, and the seconds. Then the number of repeating variables will be three. In 99% of the problems, the repeating number of repeating variables will be three only. In only one or two problems which is involving very less number of variables, there only you can get only two repeating variables. You will come to know while solving the problems. Okay. So after selecting this repeating variables, that is a very second step in your Buckingham's pi theorem. So after selecting the three repeating, see here in this particular case, I have selected x1, x2, x3 as repeating variable. Okay. So after selecting the repeating variables, you have to write the expression for pi terms. In the present problem, there are 3 pi terms. You have to write the expression for pi terms so that each pi terms should be consisting of 3 repeating variables and raised by indices. Means you have to raise the power to ABC, similar in the case of a release, and one non-repeating variable should be present. Means if you are writing first pi term out of 3 pi terms, if you are writing first pi term pi 1 is equal to the 3 repeating variables what I have chosen, that is x1, x2, x3. Then you have to take one non-repeating variable, and here also you have to raise the power of only the repeating variables. You should not raise the power of non-repeating variable. See here I have written pi 1, the first pi term is equal to x1, x2, x3. x1, x2, x3 is repeating variables into one non-repeating variable, which is the first non-repeating. X is the non-repeating variable, you write into x. You raise the power of repeating variable x1 to the power of a1, x2 to the power of b1, x3 to the power of c1. Similarly, pi 2 is equal to x1, x2, x3, 3 repeating variable into one non-repeating variable. So x I have already taken. So x4 is the non-repeating variable. You write x4. You raise the power of x1, x2, x3, a2, b2, c2. Similarly, pi 3 is equal to x1, x2, x3 into one non-repeating variable x5 to the power a3, b3, c3. You observe these 3 pi terms. In all the 3 pi terms, you will be having x1, x2, x3. That's why it is called as repeating variable. Means which is repeating in all the pi terms. Okay, that multiplied by one non-repeating variables. Here be careful, don't raise the power of non-repeating variable. Okay, now you write the dimensions for all the variables in each pi term. You take the first pi term, you write the dimension on both left hand side as well as right hand side, equate the powers of L, M and T, you'll get the equation, 3 equation. You solve, you'll get a1, b1, c1. Next you take pi 2, you write the dimension on both left hand side as well as right hand side. You equate the powers of L, M and T, you'll get a2, b2, c2. Similarly, pi 3, you equate the power, you write the dimensions, equate the powers of L, M and T, simplify, you'll get a3, b3, c3. Back substitute, once you get the value, you back substitute powers. Okay, so after back substituting in all the 3 pi terms equation, pi term values are obtained. Obtain the dimensionless number as below, that is pi 1 is equal to function of pi 2 comma pi 3. Okay, I hope you understood this. So I repeat once again, in Buckingham's pi theorem, you write down all the variables one after the other like this. Then you have to select the, you have to count the number of variables, that is m is equal to number of variables, n is equal to number of fundamental units. You subtract those m and n, you will get the number of pi terms. After getting the number of pi terms, you have to select the repeating variable. Repeating variable should be selected in such a way that one variable should be of geometric property like length, width, breadth, etc. The second repeating variable should be of fluid property like density, specific weight or the viscosity, surface tension, like that. The third repeating variable should be of flow property like velocity, acceleration due to gravity, and revolutions per minute or angular acceleration, like that. After selecting the 3 repeating variables, okay, you have to write the expression for each pi term. In this problem, we have 3 pi terms. So first pi term will be the 3 repeating variable multiplied by one non-repeating variable. Next, you raise the power of the repeating variable only, like a1, b1, c1. Similarly, you write the pi 2. Pi 2 is equal to the 3 repeating variables multiplied by one non-repeating variable. You raise the power of only the repeating variables. After writing all the 3 pi terms, you write the dimensions of the first pi term, left hand side as well as right hand side, equate the powers of L, M and T. You'll get 3 equations. Solving those 3 equations, you'll get the value of A1, B1, C1. You substitute in the value of pi 1. Similarly, you write the dimensions for pi 2, left hand side as well as right hand side. Equate the powers of L, M and T on both the sides. You simplify, you'll get the value of A2, B2, C2, substitute here. Like that, similarly, you do for pi 3 also. After finding out pi 1, pi 2, pi 3 value, you write the functional relationship as pi 1 is equal to f of pi 2 comma pi 3. You substitute the value of pi 1, pi 2, pi 3, you'll get the expression. Okay, so these are the procedures of the Rayleigh method as well as the Buckingham's pi theorem. Okay, so students, in the next class, we'll solve the problems which is involving both Rayleigh as well as the Buckingham's pi theorem. So I'll start the problems with the less number of variables like 2, 3. I'll increase up to the 6. So you'll come to know as the number of variable increases, which method is more suitable for that, like that. So we'll take the same problem, we solve in both the methods, so that you'll come into the picture. In the next video, I will be discussing on the problems of the Rayleigh and the uh, Buckingham's pi theorem. Okay. Thank you, students. Kindly go through this once again. If you have any doubts, okay, just you leave the comments so that I'll be answering the comments only. Okay.